Welcome to the Black Sci-Fi Daily Podcast. In today's episode, titled I Always Knew I Would Be a Soldier, Volume 1, we'll present a segment from the book The Last Alamo, published by Fulton Publishing. I'm Kimmy, your host and the creative mind steering this show. In this episode, we unite to delve into the expansive and inventive universes created by Black writers within the science fiction genre. This is a haven for enthusiasts who appreciate insightful storytelling, imaginative futures, and the vibrant cultural threads embedded in every narrative. Come along as we immerse ourselves in captivating stories, partake in enlightening conversations, and honor the remarkable input of Black voices to this literary form. Together, we set off on an adventure through time and cosmos, unveiling fresh viewpoints and broadening our understanding. We are thrilled to feature the incredible Kaini, who brings a unique flair as both an author and creative director at an emerging authorship firm.
In this edition, we explore the memoirs of a former Army sergeant named The Last Alamo, written by Kaini and published by Fulton Books. This account traces the path of a young American with aspirations to join the military, detailing the transformation from OD green uniforms in 1979 to A2CU attire in 2008. This narrative also delves into the reasons that inspired our youth to join the armed forces of our esteemed nation during the relatively tranquil era spanning from the late 1970s to the late 1980s. Additionally, it highlights challenges faced, such as assignments near sundown towns located in the Deep South and learning military terminology that has largely faded from memory. The account emphasizes a commitment to patriotism, addressing obstacles stemming from numerous deployments and combat experiences, while also developing leadership abilities within the military. There comes a pivotal point in life, a juncture that many individuals inevitably reach, one where we all encounter that elusive element of the American dream, a concept that many assert is merely a figment of the imagination, rather than a tangible reality that can be achieved. This was the significant period in my life when I made a conscious decision to prioritize duty, honor, and unwavering commitment above the often impulsive and carefree nature of civilian life. For years, I found myself fixating on an aspiration that would shape my future, the deep-seated desire to serve in the military. During this time, I felt akin to an imminent explosion, filled with a profound sense of purpose and driven by an unwavering patriotism that pulsed within me like adrenaline. The most paramount goal that emerged from my fervent passion became crystal clear: to wholeheartedly support my beloved country, an entity I cherish deeply despite its many imperfections and flaws. In my youthful and somewhat idealistic perspective, this nation stood as a beacon of hope, the greatest place on earth. It seemed as though we possessed everything that people across the globe yearned for relentlessly, a treasure trove of cultural icons and symbols that epitomized our prosperity and freedom. Fast food chains like McDonald's and Burger King represented not just convenience, but an all too familiar sense of home and comfort. Moreover, the magical allure of destinations such as Disney World painted a picture of joy, enchantment, and the fulfillment of dreams in the minds of countless children and families. Hollywood, the land of dreams and cinema, likewise contributed to this image of America as a utopia. It produced stories that captured the essence of human experience, showcasing triumph over adversity, love, and the relentless pursuit of happiness. In my eyes, this cultural landscape crafted a contrasting vision with the often complicated and dynamic perceptions of democracy held by people from various places around the world. The ideal of a society where everyone is entitled to their voice and where freedom reigns supreme stood as a stark contrast to the struggles that many faced elsewhere. Through this lens, my determination to serve became intertwined with not only personal ambition, but also a profound desire to uphold and advance these cherished values. The American dream, for me, was not just a distant ideal, but a call to action, a path I was eager to embark upon in service of the nation that had given so much to me. Growing up as a Black child in the South during the 1960s is often viewed as a challenging experience filled with hardships and struggles against systemic racism and social injustice. Yet for me, it was not only a time defined by these adversities, but also a profound period of discovery, fascination, and connection to my roots and those around me. I vividly recall my first meeting with my paternal grandmother's neighbors in the small yet vibrant town of Opelousas, Louisiana, around the year 1966. This initial encounter was pivotal, serving as a cornerstone for my understanding of community and belonging. At that time, my immediate family, comprising my brother Craig, who was adventurous and curious, and my younger sister Kathy, full of innocence and laughter, lived with our grandmother for a while. This arrangement was not merely a circumstance of family dynamics, it was emblematic of how families in the Deep South maintained their connections during hard times and crises. They functioned as a collective rather than as isolated individuals, pooling their resources and emotional support in a manner that reinforced our sense of unity. During this transformative era, the societal landscape was shifting, and it began to reveal those rare, exceptional Black men who became more visible in the fight for our rights and dignity. These men were increasingly unwilling to endure the mistreatment and discrimination that had long been accepted as part of life. Among these influential figures was my father, Albert Lee Tyler, 1938-1968, a resilient man navigating through an age teeming with social unrest. This backdrop of turmoil often went unnoticed by many, as it felt like an inherent part of our daily lives rather than something dreadful looming over us. Many adults seem to view this unrest as a necessary yet distressing normality, whereas we, the younger generation, perceived it with a mix of defiance and determination. Our parents and older generations found it incredibly challenging to comprehend the complexities of youthful minds that were not only absorbing vast amounts of information from various sources, including news reports, conversations, and even the subtle energies of our surroundings, but were also beginning to form opinions and beliefs about our reality. Despite the generational divide, we young people had an unmistakable grasp of our context, actively questioning the world around us and seeking change. The 1960s were marked by both the rise and decline of prominent male figures within our families and communities. It was a tumultuous time characterized by both hope and heartbreak as we faced numerous funerals for lost fathers, uncles, and older cousins, men whose absence weighed heavily on our collective hearts. Each loss was not merely a personal tragedy, it represented the fragility of our community and the struggle for survival amidst the chaos. I grew up in a world where half of my uncles came from second marriages, which created a complex tapestry of familial relationships. This blending of additional families into ours did not diminish our connection. Rather, it ultimately strengthened us as one large, resilient family unit. With each new member, we expanded our sense of identity, embracing diverse stories, traditions, and experiences that enriched our lives and forged unbreakable bonds. In this intricate web of relationships forged during an era of both turmoil and growth, I learned valuable lessons about resilience, community, and the enduring power of love. These formative experiences have stayed with me, shaping my understanding of what it means to be a part of something greater than oneself, a unity that transcends hardship and celebrates the strength found in connections. The neighbors of my grandmother, the Boyers, whose surname is pronounced as Bouye, had a small family that was also expanding, reflecting the vibrant life of a close-knit community. This family included my very first white friends, Frank and Lola, who played a pivotal role in my childhood development. Even at our young age, we had been instinctively educated about racial differences. These distinctions were subtly but firmly woven into the fabric of our upbringing, demonstrating the societal awareness that often comes with maturity. Nonetheless, it was during my time spent in Opelousas, Louisiana, in the transformative year of 1964, that I came to a significant realization. Children typically perceive one another simply as kids, appreciating shared experiences and laughter rather than dwelling on any awareness of being white, Black, or Hispanic. This innate ability to look past physical characteristics allowed me to effortlessly bridge those divisions that society tended to emphasize. Children are remarkably adept at this. They focus on who might become potential playmates, eagerly seeking companions amongst the toys spread out across a vast backyard that promised endless possibilities for fun and adventure. It was in this lively setting that I met Frank and Lola, joined by my cousin Anthony Allen and my younger brother, Craig Tyler. United by our shared curiosity and youthful exuberance, we quickly formed a close and unwavering bond, experiencing the rich tapestry of life together in Louisiana. Our friendship thrived as we navigated the intricate social dynamics of a small American town. This adaptability was facilitated by two essential types of knowledge. The first was the street smarts I had acquired from living in a bustling Texas city, where I had learned to read social situations and understand unspoken rules of engagement. The second was the valuable insights about our local neighborhood that Frank shared with me, which proved indispensable in helping us avoid many bullies who roamed the streets around us. Among those bullies, the most infamous figure was Hilton, who stood out as the eldest member of his family. Despite his age, however, he could not be described as particularly intelligent. He was more a figure of intimidation born out of physical presence rather than wit. His family was notorious in our community for causing havoc during the 1960s, leaving a trail of disturbances in their wake, which made our need for awareness all the more crucial. In learning to navigate these challenges together, Frank, Lola, Anthony, Craig, and I were not only forming friendships, we were also cultivating resilience that would serve us well in a world that, while seemingly simple through the eyes of children, often presented complex social realities. This interplay of childhood innocence amid the awareness of societal divisions played a profound role in shaping my understanding of friendship, unity, and the arbitrary nature of racial boundaries. Among the group of four boys, Craig Tyler, Frank Boyer, Kenneth Tyler, and later Peter Joseph, there was also Anthony Allen's younger brother, Terry Allen, who was included in their close-knit circle of friends. These five boys, whose lives intertwined from their early childhood days, eventually found themselves making a significant and life-altering decision as they grew older. During a tumultuous period marked by national crisis, each of them made the honorable choice to enlist in the military, and they all completed their combat tours with varying experiences and challenges. Their journeys not only reflected the spirit of camaraderie that they had cultivated over the years, but also highlighted the sacrifices that young men often make for their country in times of need. Among them, Frank Boyer distinguished himself by rising to the rank of officer, a position that demanded both leadership and courage. Frank's service was particularly notable as it coincided with Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, two pivotal military campaigns during the early 1990s. His experiences in combat not only tested his resolve, but also contributed to his personal growth and sense of duty, elements that shaped the course of his life. Looking back on our youthful days, it becomes apparent that we were all deeply committed to the idea of serving our country. However, at the time, we did not fully recognize the profound implications of that commitment. One of the boys, whose passion for sport was immense, made the remarkable decision to leave behind a promising career in professional football to enlist in the Army. This choice reflected not only his dedication, but also a sense of duty that surpassed personal ambition. Similarly, two other friends chose to set aside their college dreams, recognizing that their calling lay in military service rather than in academic pursuits. These decisions were not made lightly, as they involved significant sacrifices and alterations to their life trajectories. As for my own story, the desire to join the Army was not merely a fleeting thought, it was an intrinsic calling that I felt very strongly even at the tender age of 10. The sense of duty and purpose that I associated with military service was compelling enough that I made the decision to formally enlist when I reached the age of 17. Our family's legacy of serving in the military was important to me, making me the first among my generation's numerous cousins to step forward and take on this significant commitment. In reflecting on these experiences, it is clear that our backgrounds, friendships, and life choices ultimately wove a narrative of dedication and bravery, demonstrating how young individuals can rise to the occasion in the name of service and honor. Our relationship with the Boyers provided us with a profound sense of security and emotional strength that was invaluable during our formative years. Frank's father, a man of great integrity and resilience, had served with distinction in World War II, a fact that impressed upon me the seriousness and gravity of military service. I still have vivid memories of how I was captivated by the collection of old combat photographs that adorned the walls of their living room, each image a window into the past, telling the poignant stories of national heroes who had bravely charged into the fray to protect our freedoms. These artifacts were not just mere decorations. They were reminders of sacrifice and valor, evoking a sense of patriotism that was palpable in the air. In the spirit of their legacy, Frank and I often engaged in imaginative games where we played pretend battles, our creativity knowing no bounds. Armed only with popsicle sticks that served as makeshift rifles and rocks we pretended were grenades, we would immerse ourselves in epic confrontations. Our innocent battles later evolved into the more complex and nuanced themes of cowboys versus Indians, a storyline heavily influenced by the endless stream of Western films and television shows that dominated the cultural landscape of our childhood. It's worth noting that during these whimsical play acts, there was one role that no one ever wanted to assume, that of the Indian. This hesitation, although unspoken at the time, hinted at the subtle complexities and sensitivities surrounding issues of cultural representation and identity, which perhaps we were too young to fully comprehend. In that nurturing environment, there existed an undeniable and palpable sense of equality among us as friends, which starkly contrasted with the skewed narratives often depicted on television or in the movies. While popular culture often illustrated a divided world fraught with racism and prejudice, the reality of our neighborhood flourished right next door, hidden in plain sight. The warmth of acceptance and the genuine connections we formed resonated deeply within our hearts, bridging the gap between childhood innocence and the more complex adult world, affecting both children and adults alike. I do not recall any instances of racial misconduct or tension at the Boyer home. Instead, what's etched in my memory is a profoundly supportive environment, filled with a remarkable sense of maturity and mutual respect that prevailed between my family and theirs. This backdrop of inclusivity and understanding, where differences were not only acknowledged but celebrated, was pivotal. It fostered an atmosphere where we learned to value our friendships over societal labels, creating a rich tapestry of shared experiences that shaped my worldview. This richness of experience ultimately cultivated in me a core belief that would resonate throughout my adulthood. At the very essence of humanity, we are all fundamentally alike. Regardless of the external differences that may visually set us apart, we are, in reality, neither better nor worse than one another. This understanding imbues my interactions with a sense of compassion and empathy for others, serving as a foundation for building bridges in a world that often seems divided. In essence, my childhood lessons have armed me with a perspective that allows me to embrace diversity wholeheartedly while recognizing our shared humanity. This chapter of my life unfolded in Louisiana during the early 1960s, a time and place where my worldviews and beliefs began to coalesce. It was here that I started to form the conviction that serving in the military was not merely a duty, but one of the highest honors a person could achieve as an American citizen. A particularly pivotal moment that solidified this sentiment for me was witnessing my Uncle Douglas Johnson depart for military duty. The day was beautiful, with the sun shining brightly in a clear blue sky, and yet there was no dramatic farewell to mark his departure. It was a surprisingly subdued event. He left with the same casualness one would exhibit when heading out to run errands, a stark contrast to the weight of the commitment he was undertaking. Years later, when my Uncle Douglas returned from his service, my understanding of family and duty deepened as I encountered newfound connections, including meeting Harding Thompson, another uncle who had extraordinary tales to share. During our conversations, he recounted his experiences from the Vietnam War, painting a vivid picture of the challenges and tribulations he faced while serving in a tumultuous era. His stories brought to life the realities of military service, enriching my appreciation for those who dedicate their lives to the defense of our country and amplifying my respect for the profound sacrifices that come with that choice. Through these relationships and experiences, my perspective on honor, bravery, and the bonds formed through shared hardships continued to develop, deeply influencing my understanding of what it meant to be part of a community deeply rooted in values of loyalty and sacrifice. During our formative years, we often found ourselves idly watching television, a central part of our daily routines where we would immerse ourselves in the enchanting worlds of movies, the colorful adventures of cartoons, or the engaging narratives of our favorite programs. It was during these cherished moments of entertainment that we would intermittently catch glimpses of the Vietnam War flickering on the screen, the harsh realities of conflict blending awkwardly with our innocent, carefree existence. Each news segment felt like an unwelcome disruption, intruding upon our leisure and diverting our attention away from the more fantastical or humorous pursuits we were engrossed in at the time. This incessant juxtaposition inevitably shaped our nascent understanding of the troubling events occurring in Vietnam. Yet, as children, those images often seemed distant and unreal, more like a backdrop to our daily lives rather than an urgent, pressing reality. However, it wasn't until a particularly enlightening conversation with my late Uncle Hardy that I began to grasp the true magnitude of the Vietnam War and its impact on individuals caught in its tumultuous grip. Uncle Hardy shared with me a harrowing tale from his past, a vivid recounting of the time he found himself stranded during a critical military operation. He painted a gripping picture of the chaos surrounding him, the tension palpable as he fought to stay alive amidst hostile conditions. His narrative recounted not only the physical challenges he faced, but also the mental fortitude required to survive in such perilous circumstances. The story transformed from mere words into a visceral experience as he illustrated the harrowing choices he had to make, changing the way I viewed the war. It became more than just a distant event. It was a reality that could forge strength and resilience in the human spirit. My Uncle Hardy described his experience in a way that resonated deeply with me, likening it to his own personal Alamo story. This powerful analogy underscored the significance of finding a sturdy refuge, a secure stronghold from which one could strategize and summon the will to endure. He emphasized not merely the physical aspect of sheltering, but also the vital importance of ensuring that all possible angles were covered, a tactical approach to survival that he referred to as his own Alamo. This reference evoked images of steadfastness in the face of overwhelming odds and became a metaphor for resilience, encapsulating both the emotional and psychological aspects of his ordeal. Uncle Hardy's insights illuminated a profound understanding of the human condition during conflict and taught me that amidst chaos, there emerges an instinct to seek safety and protection, essentials for survival that transcend time and place. Thank you for engaging with my blog. It's crucial to focus on the future, especially regarding our own paths. While the future is unwritten, our present reflects the themes of greed and political commentary. Writers, keep creating, readers, stay curious, and listeners, tune in for more. Your words shape narratives, each book connects you with new ideas, and every broadcast introduces diverse voices. Embrace these roles. They're essential for knowledge and creativity in our ever-evolving world.